You think you know which states are dangerous. You've watched the shows, you've run the mental math, you've probably already decided where you'd go, somewhere rural, somewhere quiet, somewhere with space, and that instinct isn't wrong. But here's the thing. Most people are already living in the wrong state before a single infected person stumbles out of a hospital waiting room. You're not the protagonist. You don't have plot armor. And the state lines you've barely thought about, those invisible borders on a map, are about to become the most important geographic fact of your life. Here's what most people don't realize. Population density doesn't just mean more zombies. It means faster collapse. It means infrastructure failure inside of hours, not days. It means every escape route you're imagining is also being imagined by 3 million other people simultaneously. Before we go any further, subscribe and hit the bell. This channel is for people who take the math seriously, not the fantasy. Stay locked in because this gets ugly fast. Let's set the parameters because this isn't a feelings exercise. We're running a fast mover scenario, think 28 days later speed, airborne transmission within close quarters, incubation under 2 hours. You have a 6-hour head start from the moment of first public confirmation. That's it. 6 hours before airports lock, before highways gridlock, before every gas station within 50 miles runs dry. You start with a standard vehicle, half a tank of gas, whatever's in your home right now, and one other person. No prepper cache, no bug-out vehicle, no contact waiting at a fortified farm. This is the realistic version. The one where you didn't spend the last decade preparing because almost nobody did. Win condition is simple. You're alive and uninfected at the 30-day mark. Loss condition is everything else. And here's where geography starts doing the killing for you before a single zombie touches you. New Jersey. Let's start there, because it deserves to be first on this list, and everyone from New Jersey is about to argue about it in the comments. It is the single most densely populated state in the continental United States, roughly 200 people per square mile. That's not a city, that's the entire state, corner to corner. Sounds reasonable until you try to leave. Every major exit from New Jersey routes through either New York City to the north or Philadelphia to the south. Two of the largest population centers on the eastern seaboard, both of which are simultaneously on fire in this scenario. The Garden State Parkway becomes a parking lot inside 90 minutes. The bridges, and there are not that many of them, become choke points. And choke points in a fast mover scenario are graveyards with better parking. The fix isn't clever routing. The fix is never being there in the first place. If you live in New Jersey, your survival math starts at a deficit that geography alone cannot solve in a 6-hour window. California is next, and before you get defensive, understand this isn't about the culture war. It's about 39 million people, 3 massive metro areas, and a geography that is legitimately trying to kill you independent of any outbreak. Los Angeles alone contains 10 million people in the greater metro area. 10 million. You sprint out of LA heading east and you hit the Mojave Desert. You head north and you funnel through the Central Valley, which is also densely populated, before you reach anything resembling defensible terrain. The coast cuts off your western options immediately. Here's where things get ugly in a different way. California's water infrastructure is almost entirely centralized. When the treatment plants go unmanned, and they will fast, the tap runs dry within days. Every survivable location you can think of in rural California already has the same problem. No water without infrastructure. And the people who thought of it before you are already there. Massachusetts. Compact, educated, completely screwed. The state is 27,000 square miles. It has nearly 7 million people. And it is absolutely dominated by the Boston Metro Corridor, which connects to Providence, which connects to the broader northeastern megalopolis that stretches from Boston to Washington, D.C. without meaningful breaks in urban density. That megalopolis is the single most dangerous geographic feature on this list. It is 500 miles of continuous urban environment containing roughly 50 million people. If you're in Massachusetts when this starts, you're at the northern end of the world's largest potential infected corridor. Every road heading south is a death sentence. Every road heading west goes through Worcester and Springfield before it opens up. North takes you to New Hampshire, which is actually not terrible, but you're burning precious hours getting there. Maryland and the DC metro area. Let's be real for a minute. Washington, D.C. itself isn't a state, but Maryland and Virginia functionally absorb its collapse. The district has the second highest population density of any jurisdiction in the country, and it sits directly in the middle of that megalopolis we just talked about. Maryland's eastern shore offers the illusion of escape. It feels rural, it has water access, it has farmland. What it also has is exactly one meaningful way in and out across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, and that bridge handles 27 million vehicles a year under normal conditions. Under outbreak conditions, it handles none. The bridge will be gridlocked, then barricaded, then the thing people are fighting over within hours 3 and 4 of your 6-hour window. If you don't beat that curve, you're trapped on the wrong side. Illinois. Chicago is the third largest city in the country, and it sits on Lake Michigan, which sounds like a survival asset until you realize that water is not the problem. The city surrounding it is. Cook County alone has 5 million people. Lake Shore Drive turns into the world's least fun parking lot. What makes Illinois worse than its neighbors is the flatness. The entire state is essentially one enormous flat agricultural plain with minimal terrain features to use as natural barriers or defensible positions. Flat means visible. Visible means findable. It also means that any fast mover population surge from Chicago radiates outward in every direction with nothing to slow it. You don't have a mountain pass to defend. You don't have a river that can't be crossed. You have corn, Florida. Oh, Florida. The state that was already operating like a disaster movie before any of this. 67 counties, 22 million residents, and a geography that is essentially one giant peninsula with only one direction of retreat, north. Here's the thing about peninsulas in a fast mover scenario. They fill from the top down. The infected move south with a population surge fleeing north. You get compressed. The Everglades occupying the southern tip aren't a refuge. They're a slow death by exposure, wildlife, and the absence of drinkable water. The coasts have nowhere to go, and Florida's heat accelerates every medical problem you're already dealing with. Wound infection, dehydration, heat exhaustion, all of it compounds faster in 95-degree humidity. Texas is the state that surprises people on this list. Texas is enormous. Texas is rural. Texas has guns. And Texas has a population of 30 million people, 3 major metropolitan areas, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio, that are within roughly 200 miles of each other, and Houston sitting at 2.3 million in the city proper, with the 4th largest metro population in the country. Houston's problem is specific and lethal. It floods. The city sits on flat coastal plain, and it has a documented catastrophic flooding history, even without an apocalyptic scenario layered on top. You're trying to exfiltrate through a city that turns into a shallow inland sea in a bad storm. Add infrastructure collapse, no emergency services, and a fast mover outbreak, and your vehicle becomes a boat you don't have. Dallas and San Antonio create a population corridor running through the heart of the state that is dense enough to create serious fast mover propagation problems before the rural expanses ever become relevant. Texas has the space to survive in. Getting to that space is the part that kills you. So what does the survival math actually look like? Every state on this list shares the same 4 failure conditions: extreme population density, geographic choke points that compress evacuation routes, infrastructure centralization that collapses fast, and insufficient head start to clear the kill zone before it closes. Short-term survival odds, first 72 hours, drop to somewhere around 20% for anyone in these states who didn't move in the first 2 hours of confirmation. Long-term survival at 30 days from a standing start inside these states. Single digits. That's not fear-mongering. That's population math applied to vector propagation models. There's no sugarcoating it. The practical advice is brutal in its simplicity. If you live in any of these states, your survival plan cannot begin on outbreak day. It begins now with one question: what's your exit route that doesn't require a highway? Because every survivable move in a densely populated state requires you to think 3 steps ahead of the crowd. And the crowd is going to be moving within minutes of the first viral clip hitting social media. You don't wait for official confirmation. Official confirmation means the window already closed. You don't stockpile in a state with 10 million neighbors and 1 exit corridor. You don't shelter in place in a geography that compresses infected population toward you. You identify the secondary roads now. You know the bridges that people forget about. You build the habit of moving early and moving quiet, before the obvious routes become rivers of people, making all the same panicked decisions simultaneously. All right, your turn. You're looking at this list and you either live in one of these states or you know someone who does. So here's your honest assessment question. How many of these 4 failure conditions apply to your current situation right now? Do you have an exit route that doesn't depend on a highway? Do you have supplies that don't require a store run in the first 6 hours? Do you actually know, what's between you and the nearest defensible terrain? No plot armor, no convenient empty roads, just the math, your current address and how honest you're willing to be about the gap between where you are and where you'd need to be. Drop your state in the comments and tell me your honest survival rating. 1 to 10, no charity. This channel exists for people who want the real answer, not the comfortable one. Subscribe if you're one of those people. And stay sharp, because the next video goes somewhere even uglier.